Hello, my name is Adam Levy. I'm the alcohol professor. I'm here at Desmond Payne, here at Beefeater Gin. Desmond, thank you for meeting us.
Pleasure.
So Desmond, can you tell us more about Beefeater?
Beefeater is a really classic London gin, made here in London. This is actually our third home. It's a big brand. It's a multinational brand owned by Pernod Ricard, and very much the recipe set down by our founder James Burrow, and it's my job. I'm the custodian, if you like, of that recipe.
Yes.
His picture is right behind me, watching everything that I do.
I do see him off camera, and it's true, he's here.
So I keep his recipe as it was, but I've had the chance to make one or two of my own gins.
Really?
In more recent years. Yeah.
Which ones were those?
First of all, Beefeater 24.
Oh, yes.
Which was my creation in about 2008. We launched at the end of 2008. First gin I ever made of my own recipe, rather than following the founder's recipe. So that was a huge experience, huge learning curve for me. And since that, a few limited editions of Beefeater, and more recently Burroughs Reserve, which is a gin that we rest in wood for a while, and we get some colour and character.
What type of wood?
French oak.
French oak?
Casks, and it just changes. Not only does it change the gin, it gives a little colour, obviously, it gives some of those softer wood notes, but it also gives us the opportunity to think about the occasions on which you drink gin.
Okay.
So we're presenting this as a sipping gin.
I gotcha.
So it's more perhaps looking in the areas where traditionally we look at malt whiskies and cognacs and things. So just to extend the occasions on which you drink gin.
Okay. And these barrels, not to digress too much, these barrels were used, they recharred?
Yes, they're used for a French aperitif wine, and it gets some of that character as well.
Good.
I think if you're going to age something in wood, aging is perhaps not the right word, because it's not a long time. I still want this to be gin. So you need to be careful what wood you use. There needs to be some kind of connect with gin.
Right, compared to some of the other barrel-aged gins that's coming on the market today.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Can you describe what's the difference of London gin compared to another type of gin?
London gin is actually a method of production rather than a geographical location. We're very proud that Beefeater London gin actually is made in London, always has been, but an awful lot of London gin isn't. That's fine, it can be made anywhere. Really what it means is when you distill pure neutral alcohol in the presence of all the botanicals of juniper and citrus and whatever it is in your recipe. Once it's distilled for London gin, you can't add any other material that will change its flavour.
Okay.
So you can't further enhance it, if you like. So you can add water to get the bottling strength right. So it comes off, it still is quite strong.
Very strong.
And you can add more neutral alcohol. You can't add anything that affects the flavour.
Okay.
So the skill is in how you work your stills and how you balance your botanicals. Once it's distilled, that's it.
Okay. How long have you been here at Beefeater?
I've been here since 1995. Previously I was with Plymouth Gin. I was there for 25 years. So, you're adding it up, I can see. I've been making gin.
You've been making gin for a long time.
Just coming up 46 years next month. Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's a long time.
And what do you think of the gin market today? Have you seen good growth, or is it more awareness?
It's great. Overall, the gin market isn't showing huge growth, but certain sectors of it are. And what we see in the last 3 or 4 years, I guess, is huge interest in gin again.
Yes.
In the United States, cocktails and gin kind of never went out of fashion, but in London and in some European markets, really vodka took over and gin was in decline. Gin is back, that's the first thing. Cocktails are back, and there's an obvious link there.
Yeah, I think cocktails, as you mentioned before, is a big factor. I mean, as you mentioned before, I think vodka was on a whole trajectory in the last, probably in the early 2000s, and gin took more of a backseat.
Yeah.
And I think now the rise of mixologists today, and I know Beefeater through Pernod Ricard runs numerous competitions around the world, and I think really bringing the mixologists back in together with the cocktails has been terrific.
Yeah. And I think this present generation of cocktail bartenders, mixologists, whatever you want to call them, they are absolutely at the top of their profession. And I have a sneaky suspicion that they are better than the great and the good of the sort of 1900s, 1920s, who were the people that started the whole thing going. I think that the people out there today are probably better and more professional and producing better drinks even. That's a contentious thing to say, but those guys aren't around
Actually,
anymore,
I agree with you. I think there's more a strong vocation to be mixologists today, and there's better ingredients and more sharing. And I think that if you had that position in the 1900s, 1920s, maybe you fell into it, maybe you started off behind the bar or a family business, whatever it is. But today, people are drawn to that. And I think as the foodies market has grown, it's definitely, the mixologists today really take great pride in that, and they want to not push the boundaries so much, because so much you can do, but I think it's interesting that they're finding more and more interesting recipes or incorporating different alcohol bases into different recipes.
I think that's great, and what they're doing is they're looking at the traditional recipes and giving them a modern slant, understanding how things work. That's what I do when I produce a new gin, limited editions or whatever. I look at how Beefeater has been made traditionally, and some of those things I wouldn't want to change. For instance, we steep all our botanicals for 24 hours before we distill. I wouldn't want to change that. It makes a huge difference. But what I might change is the botanicals, where the flavors come from, but leave the method pretty much the same. It's happening with the bartenders as well. But in terms of gin market, it's exciting. There are new gins coming out. My goodness, almost every week.
Yes, there are.
I was in a bar in Valencia in Spain about 6 weeks ago now.
A huge gin market in Spain.
They had 320 something brands of gin behind the bar.
Really? That's
They asked me how I knew which one I'd drink, which was a silly question, because I knew which one I was going to drink.
I mean, Spain's always been a humongous gin market.
It's the second biggest market after USA.
Really?
Yeah. And obviously the lead market in Europe. And for Beefeater, it's our biggest market.
Good. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Have a good day.